My wife cheated on me with my brother on Thanksgiving, and I can't look at either of them the same way. I never thought Thanksgiving would become the day that shattered my family. For years, it had been the one holiday that brought everyone together, my parents, my brother, my wife, and me. We had traditions, inside jokes, even a playlist that we played every year while cooking. But this time, everything felt off, even before the turkey hit the oven. My name's Daniel. I'm 35, married to Emily for 8 years. We've had our share of ups and downs, infertility struggles, job stress, financial arguments, but I honestly believed we were solid. My younger brother, Jason, is 32. He's the golden boy in our family, charismatic, funny, always the center of attention. He's also single, recently divorced, and had been staying with us for a few weeks while he got back on his feet. I didn't mind. He was my brother. Family helps family, right? At least, that's what I thought. The weeks before Thanksgiving. Looking back, the signs were there. Emily started dressing up more, even when she was just working from home. She laughed harder at Jason's jokes than mine. They'd sometimes sit close on the couch watching TV while I was finishing up work in the office. I told myself I was paranoid, that I was projecting stress onto them. Jason had always been a flirt. He flirted with waitresses, cashiers, even my mother once, jokingly. That's just how he was, harmless, right? And Emily was loyal. She'd been with me since college. She stuck with me through my lowest points, even when I got laid off during the pandemic. I trusted her. About a week before Thanksgiving, I came home early from work and found them in the kitchen, whispering. They looked startled when I walked in. Emily quickly said, "We were just planning the Thanksgiving surprise." Jason nodded and gave that same smirk he always used when he lied. My stomach twisted, but I brushed it off. Who suspects their own wife and brother? Thanksgiving Day. The morning started perfectly normal. Emily woke up early to bake pies, Jason was helping with the turkey, and I was setting up the dining table. My parents were driving up from Pennsylvania, due to arrive around 3 p.m. I remember Emily wore this dark green dress that I had bought her last Christmas. She looked beautiful, glowing, even. Jason complimented her a bit too much, but I ignored it. "You look stunning, Em," he said, his voice lower than usual. She blushed and told him to focus on the mashed potatoes. It should have been funny. It wasn't. At around noon, I realized we'd forgotten to buy cranberry sauce, Emily's favorite. She asked me to run to the store real quick. Jason offered to come, but she insisted he stay to keep the food warm. It was only a 15-minute drive. But it changed everything. The discovery. The store was packed. Thanksgiving chaos. It took longer than expected, and I was gone about 40 minutes. When I got back, the house was quieter than before, too quiet. I walked into the kitchen, expecting to see Emily or Jason. No one. I called out. Nothing. Then I noticed something odd. Her phone was on the counter, but Jason's jacket was missing. I figured maybe they'd gone outside for a smoke or to check on the dog. But our dog was asleep in the living room. I don't know what made me go upstairs. Maybe instinct. Maybe that quiet voice inside that already knew. Our bedroom door was closed, slightly. I heard muffled sounds. Soft laughter. And then a sound that froze me completely, Emily's voice, whispering Jason's name. I stood there for what felt like a full minute, my hand on the doorknob, my heart pounding so hard I thought I'd collapse. I didn't want to believe it. But denial can only hold for so long. I opened the door. And there they were, my wife and my brother. Half-dressed. Tangled in the sheets of our bed. Emily gasped. Jason jumped up, stammering, "Dan, it's not. It's not what it looks like." But it was exactly what it looked like. For a moment, everything went silent. The world narrowed down to just the sound of my own heartbeat and Emily's trembling breath. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just turned around and walked downstairs. The fallout. They followed me down, both of them panicked. Emily kept saying, "Please, it was a mistake, it just happened." Jason tried to grab my arm. I shoved him so hard he hit the wall. "Get out," I said quietly. My voice didn't even sound like mine. "Daniel, please," Emily sobbed. "It didn't mean anything." "Then it should be easy to forget," I said. "Both of you. Out." Jason left first, mumbling something about not wanting to ruin Thanksgiving. I almost laughed at that. Emily stood in the doorway, crying, shaking, begging. I couldn't even look at her. I told her I'd call her when I was ready to talk, but deep down, I knew I never would be. When my parents arrived later that afternoon, the house was empty except for me and the ruined dinner. My mom asked where Emily and Jason were. I just said, "They left early." She didn't push. Maybe she sensed something. I spent that night on the couch, staring at the untouched turkey. It felt like every piece of my life had been carved out, hollowed, and left to rot. Aftermath. It's been 3 weeks since then. Emily's been staying at her sister's place. Jason tried texting me a few times, apologies, excuses, it was a moment of weakness. I blocked him. My parents eventually found out. Mom cried. Dad called it unforgivable. Thanksgiving will never be the same for our family again. I keep thinking about all the things I lost in a single day, not just a wife, not just a brother, but the belief that my family was unbreakable. People talk about betrayal like it's an explosion, something sudden. But for me, it feels like a slow bleed. Every morning I wake up and remember, and it hurts just a little less, but it's always there. And sometimes, late at night, I catch myself wondering. What hurts more, that they did it, or that I didn't see it coming? The Thanksgiving aftermath. The day after Thanksgiving, I woke up on the couch, still wearing the same clothes from the night before. The house smelled like cold turkey and regret. Empty plates were scattered across the counter, the half-burnt candles still sitting in the middle of the dining table. Everything looked the same, but nothing was the same. My phone had blown up overnight, 15 missed calls from Emily, 5 from my brother Jason, and a few from my mom asking why Emily sounded like she was crying on the phone. I didn't answer any of them. When I finally looked outside, I saw that Jason's truck was gone. Emily's car was still in the driveway, though, a painful reminder that part of her still lingered here, even after she shattered everything. I made coffee, sat down at the kitchen table, and stared at the 2 mugs she had left drying by the sink. One was hers, light blue with a small chip on the handle. The other was Jason's. The thought hit me like a punch. How long had those mugs been side by side like that? How long had they been side by side behind my back? The confrontation. Around noon, my mom showed up without calling first. She must have talked to Emily, because the moment she stepped through the door, she hugged me so hard I could barely breathe. "Daniel, sweetheart," she whispered. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know." I didn't even have to ask what she meant. It was written all over her face. "Did she tell you?" I asked quietly. "She called me this morning. She's a mess. She says she made a mistake." "A mistake," I repeated, the word tasting like acid. "That's what we're calling it now." Mom didn't argue. She just looked at me with that heartbreaking mix of pity and confusion, the same way she used to look at me when I scraped my knee as a kid. But this wasn't something a band-aid could fix. "I just can't understand how Jason could," she started, then stopped herself. "He's your brother." I corrected. "He was my brother." Emily's visit. That evening, Emily showed up at the house. She didn't knock, she still had her key. I was upstairs packing her things into boxes when I heard the door open. "Daniel," she called out softly. "Please don't do this. We need to talk." I came down the stairs, holding one of her sweaters. Her eyes were red and swollen. She looked wrecked. I almost felt sorry for her, almost. "There's nothing to talk about," I said flatly. "You made your choice." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "It wasn't like that. I wasn't thinking. I've been so lonely, Daniel. You've been so distant lately." I slammed the box shut. "Don't you dare blame this on me. You slept with my brother. In our bed. On Thanksgiving. You don't get to say you were lonely." She flinched like I'd hit her. "I know. I know what I did was disgusting. I hate myself for it. But please, just listen. It didn't mean anything. It was one time. I was drunk, and Jason." "Stop," I cut her off. "I don't need excuses. I just need you gone." Her voice cracked. "So that's it? 8 years together and you're just throwing me away?" "No," I said, my voice cold. "You did that for both of us." She stared at me for a long time, then finally nodded. She left quietly, without another word. The door closed behind her, and I felt something inside me snap, not from anger this time, but from grief. The family divides. A few days later, my parents invited me over to talk things through. I knew what that meant. Mom wanted to mediate. She's always been the peacemaker, the one who believes every family wound can be stitched with forgiveness. But some wounds go too deep. When I walked in, Jason was already there. He looked awful, unshaven, dark circles under his eyes, hands shaking. He couldn't even meet my gaze. "Dan," he started, "I'm sorry, man. I swear I didn't mean." "Save it," I said. "You didn't trip and fall into my wife, Jason." Mom gasped. Dad looked like he wanted to say something but didn't. Jason just stared at the floor. "It just happened," he said weakly. "We were both drunk, Anne." "You were sober enough to take off your clothes," I snapped. "Don't insult me." He finally looked up, and I saw it, guilt, shame, maybe even fear. "I'd give anything to take it back," he said. "You're my brother. I love you." I laughed. A short, bitter sound. "You don't love anyone, Jason. You love attention. You love being the favorite. And you couldn't stand that for once. I had something you didn't." That hit him hard. He didn't deny it. Dad finally spoke. "Jason, I think you should go." Jason stood, nodded slowly, and left. He didn't look back. Mom started crying again, whispering, "We're broken. Our family's broken." I looked at her and said quietly, "No, Mom. He broke it. I'm just done pretending it's still whole." The divorce papers. 2 weeks later, I filed for divorce. Emily didn't fight it. She signed everything without contest, the house, the car, even the joint savings. I think she wanted to punish herself. Or maybe she just couldn't bear to drag it out. She sent me one last text afterward. "I hope one day you'll forgive me. I'll never forgive myself." I didn't reply. What was there to say? I moved into a small apartment downtown. Sold the house. Every corner of it reminded me of her, the laughter, the Sunday breakfasts, the stupid dance we used to do while cooking. It was all poison now. I blocked both of them. Thanksgiving had turned into a permanent scar, a date that would always remind me of betrayal wrapped in cranberry sauce and fake smiles. The quiet after. For weeks, I avoided everyone. I didn't answer texts, skipped family dinners, even ignored Christmas invites. My parents understood. Mom left a plate of food at my door one night with a note that said, "You don't have to forgive to move on." Maybe she was right. Forgiveness isn't the same as forgetting. But forgetting, that's the part one still can't do. Every time I close my eyes, I still see that moment, Emily's face, Jason's panic, the way everything in my life split in two. And yet, somewhere deep down, beneath all the anger, there's still love, twisted, broken, but there. Maybe that's the worst part. Because when love dies, it doesn't just vanish. It haunts you, like a ghost that refuses to leave your house. A year has passed since that Thanksgiving. It's strange how time can move on while your mind stays trapped in one moment. Everyone else's life seems to continue, birthdays, holidays, family dinners, but mine froze the second I opened that bedroom door. I spent most of the year alone. Therapy helped a bit, mostly by giving shape to my anger. I started running, picked up painting again, even joined a local hiking group just to get out of my own head. Slowly, I learned how to breathe without feeling like I was choking on betrayal. But then came November again. Thanksgiving. And with it, a text from my mother. "We're having dinner this year at Aunt Grace's. I know it's hard, but I'd love for you to come. Jason won't be there. Promise." I almost ignored it. But something inside me, maybe pride, maybe exhaustion, whispered that I couldn't avoid my own family forever. So I said yes. The return. When I walked into Aunt Grace's house, every sound felt louder, every smell sharper. Turkey roasting. Children laughing. The clinking of silverware. It was all so normal, and yet my heart was pounding like I was walking into a war zone. Mom hugged me first, eyes full of relief. Dad gave me that awkward, proud pat on the shoulder that said everything he couldn't put into words. For a moment, I actually felt okay. Until Jason walked in. He wasn't supposed to be there. Mom froze when she saw me see him. He showed up uninvited, she whispered quickly. "I swear, Daniel, I didn't know." Jason looked older, thinner, maybe even sorry. He hesitated, then said softly, "Hey, Dan." The room went silent. Even the kids stopped laughing. I nodded once. Hey. That was it. No yelling. No confrontation. Just that one word, hanging in the air like smoke. The unexpected guest. About 30 minutes later, I saw her. Emily. She walked in carrying a casserole, standing behind my aunt like a ghost I wasn't ready to see. My stomach dropped. Apparently, Aunt Grace had invited her, not realizing she was that Emily. Our eyes met across the room. Hers filled instantly with tears. I froze. Jason looked mortified. "You shouldn't have come," he hissed at her quietly, but I heard it. She looked at him, then at me, and said softly, "I didn't know he'd be here." The irony nearly made me laugh. "That makes two of us," I said coldly. For a few minutes, chaos filled the room, whispers, apologies, awkward tension so thick it could have suffocated anyone who breathed too deeply. Mom tried to smooth things over, saying, maybe we should all just eat and try to be civil. So we did. Sort of. The conversation I didn't expect. After dinner, I went outside to the back porch, needing air. The cold November wind cut through my jacket, but it felt cleaner than the air inside. A few minutes later, I heard the door open. Emily stepped out. "Don't," I said without turning around. "Just, don't." "I'm not here to ask for forgiveness," she said quietly. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry again. And to thank you for not destroying me in court." I turned to face her. She looked different, paler, thinner, but calmer. "I didn't destroy you because I didn't have the energy to hate you anymore," I said. Her eyes filled with tears. "I've been going to therapy too. I've been trying to understand why I did what I did. There's no excuse, but I wanted you to know, it wasn't because I stopped loving you. It was because I stopped loving myself." I didn't respond right away. There was nothing left to fix, nothing left to save, but for the first time, her words didn't make me angry. They just made me sad. I hope you find peace, I said finally. Both of you. She nodded slowly. You already have, she said softly. You just don't see it yet. Then she walked back inside, leaving me alone with the sound of wind and distant laughter. 1 year later. It's been another Thanksgiving since that day, the second one I've spent without her, without my brother. I didn't go to the family dinner this time. Instead, I volunteered at a shelter, serving food to strangers who smiled and thanked me without knowing my story. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel bitter. I just felt free. Because closure doesn't always come with forgiveness. Sometimes, it comes quietly, when you stop asking why and start saying enough. The end.